Hello students, this is the last topic of this chapter number 8, how do organisms reproduce. The last topic is what your reproductive health. In the last class what we had discussed about the male reproductive part, we have discussed about the female reproductive part, we had also discussed about that how the fertilization takes place, what happened to the fertilized egg and what happened to the non-fertilized egg. Now after the fertilization we will discuss about the topic reproductive health. Okay, this is a very small topic in this chapter. See students, in the reproductive health, what the reproduction, how the reproduction affects the mental and the physical health. Okay, see, reproduction means in the sex जो process है आपका sexual maturation का, the sexual maturation is gradual. Mind and body must be ready before any sexual act. Understood? If our mind and body will not ready, then it ultimately affect our mental and physical health. So in this way, the reproduction can affect the physical and mental health if the mind and body both are not ready. If some sexual act is there, then it leads to pregnancy, and pregnancy will leads to some hormonal changes that we had already studied, that how the fertilization takes place and how the fertilized eggs lead to the pregnancy. But now in our country there are numerous population, so birth control is the major step taken by the government so that to decrease the population. Okay, birth control is not up to the government, at the individual level also we have to keep 1 or 2 children, not more than that. So birth control, family planning is very much important. Understand? Means if you have suppose to 5 or 6 children, and if you are not afford to give him proper education, proper nutrition, or whatever demands, you can't meet their demands, then what's the need of keeping or increasing the population? There's nothing increase, because in our country production is less and consumption is more. So to make the balance between the production and consumption, family planning is the best method in which you have to avoid the pregnancies. Now to if you are having small family or small 1 or 2 children, then you can meet the demands of the children, you can give him proper education, you can give him proper nutrition, proper clothes, means you can fulfill each and her demands. But what happen if there is large number of population, then a single person cannot afford this. So in this way family planning or birth control is there. But what there are different methods, there are different contraceptive methods in which you can avoid the pregnancy or in which you can control the birth. Let's see what are the methods to avoid the pregnancy or what are the contraceptive methods. Okay, in this topic you just get a short notes on what are the contraceptive methods. These are the physical barriers, chemical barriers, intrauterine contraception and surgical methods. These 4 methods are there in which you can control the birth or avoid a pregnancy. First we will discuss about the physical barrier. Physical barriers in which by the using of condoms or cervical caps you can avoid the pregnancy. Second one is the chemical barrier. Chemical barriers means here you can in the chemical barrier, use of the oral pills, means use of some medicines. Pills, if you are taking oral pills, these pills leads to some changes in the hormonal, and these hormonal changes will lead that egg will not get released, and in this way fertilization will take place in the chemical barrier. So in the chemical barrier, some oral pills, some drugs are there in which you can avoid a pregnancy by not releasing the eggs. But chemical barrier का disadvantage क्या है? If you're taking some pills, then it will adversely affect your health. So it may have side effect. Third one is intrauterine contraceptive devices. Intrauterine contraceptive devices may you have used copper T or loop. In this, what is happening? Copper T or copper loop is placed in the uterus so that it can avoid the pregnancy or it can avoid the fertilization. So in intrauterines means within the uterus, copper T or copper loop is placed. Fourth method is a surgical method. In this method, vasectomy or tubectomy is used. Okay, vasectomy as the word suggests, tomy means removal or blocked. Vas means vas deferens, and vas deferens कहाँ present था? Vas deferens male reproductive part में था. Means vasectomy is done in the males. So in the males, the vas deferens is blocked to prevent the sperm transfer. Okay. Second is a tubectomy. Tubectomy means fallopian tube. fallopian tube हम किसमें पढ़े थे? फीमेल रिप्रोडक्टिव पार्ट में. मीन्स fallopian tube in the female, fallopian tube gets blocked to prevent the egg transfer. So in this way, either tubectomy or by through the vasectomy, we can avoid the eggs and sperm transfer, and if there is no transfer, then no fertilization, and in this way we can prevent the pregnancies. So these are the 4 methods in which we can avoid the pregnancy or is a contraceptive. First is the physical barrier, second is the chemical, third is the IUCD. You always get a short notes on IUCD, intrauterine contraceptive device, in which we are using copper T or the copper loop, which are placed in the uterus to avoid the fertilization. Fourth one is a surgical method. Now let's come to the female feticide. Female feticide means practicing of killing the female inside the womb. Okay, practicing of killing the female inside the womb is known as female feticide. To avoid this female feticide, we have to, there's your prenatal sex determination is great offenses, means it is a legal crime, your prenatal sex determination, because due to prenatal sex determination, parents will kill their female child inside the womb. Now, for a healthy society, a balanced sex ratio is needed that can be achieved by educating people to avoid the malpractice like female feticide or prenatal sex determination. Understood? So, female feticide is nothing but it is the killing of the female inside the womb. To prevent this, we have to stop the prenatal sex determination, which is a legal offense in our country, so as to maintain a balanced sex ratio. Now, next comes to the STD. STD means sexually transmitted disease. See, reproductive health का मतलब क्या था? कि reproductive health means a total well-being in all aspects, in the aspect of your physical, emotional, social and behavioral. If you are total well-being, then it is known as reproductive health. Unsafe sex leads to a disease which are known as sexually transmitted disease. Okay, sexually transmitted disease, this disease can be transmitted from the sexual glands, from the vagina or from the gonads, male gonads. STDs may be due to bacteria, it may be due to virus also. If STDs can be transferred due to some bacteria, then it will be disease like gonorrhea and syphilis. If it is due to virus, then it is known as warts or HIV/AIDS. Now, how we can prevent from STDs? So, these are the methods, these are the contraceptive methods by which STDs can be prevented. And most major cause of the STDs is that sex with multiple partners can lead to this disease known as STDs. So these are the methods by which you can prevent such a deadly disease. So this is all about your reproductive health, and this leads to the completion of the chapter. Now students, in this chapter, you all people are having doubt that we have started a new chapter, but no, I will write the contents of the chapter, what I have given to you in my lectures. So through these contents you should write in the copy. Don't mismatch all the contents, because few students are messaging me that the whatever topic I am given, these are from the next chapter. So don't be confused. I will write here all the contents, and these all contents are under this topic. Now your this chapter is completed. Okay. Next is what are contents is there in this chapter. I will write you all the contents of this chapter, so you cannot confuse with them. So first we have studied in this chapter about the DNA, role of the DNA. Okay, in my first lecture I have taught you about the role of DNA. In the second chapter I have taught you about asexual reproduction. Okay. In third lecture I have taught you about vegetative propagation. In the fourth lecture I have taught you about sexual reproduction. Okay, so sexual reproduction is not the another topic, it is a topic of the same chapter. Understood? Wait, sexual reproduction, in which I have taught you the sexual reproduction of the flowering plant on the same day. I have also taught you about the fertilization also. Next lecture, I have taught about the male reproductive part. In a second, I have taught you about second video lecture, female reproductive. And also I have taught you about the fertilization on the same lecture. And the seventh is the reproductive health. Reproductive health. Understood? So don't be confused. Male reproductive system, female reproductive system, and fertilization on the same day, and the reproductive health. So these all are the contents of the chapter. First, in role of DNA, sex and asexual, vegetative propagation, sexual reproduction, male reproductive system, female reproductive system, reproductive health. In sexual reproduction, I have taught you about flowering plant. Okay, so these are the contents. You should write these contents in your notebook in this sequence only. Don't mismatch the sequence. All are in the sequential. So now from the reproductive health, your chapter is over. In the next chapter, we're going to study the chapter number 9. So this is the contents. Write it in a proper way. If any doubt, contact me at my personal number. Thank you so much.